Hi there and welcome. Thank you for being a Patreon supporter. This video is for you. Thank you so much for your questions. I'll do a Q&A for you. I hope you're all doing really well at the moment. Okay, so this first question today is from Anna. Hi Nikki, I'd really like to know more about your journey with meditation and how it's helped you. How many times do you meditate per day and what sorts of techniques do you use? I know you answered a related question of mine privately dealing with the dark side of meditation, so I just wanted to get some guidance and could help everyone else to ensure meditation stays positive and beneficial for all of us. Okay. So with my own journey with meditation, it's helped me by calming my mind and quietening my mind when we're always caught up in circles and cycles of thought. Meditation helps to break that, and it is like mind training and helps it to learn how to stay calm and not swept up in thoughts. You find peacefulness in meditation. It therefore helps me to have more realizations and see through illusions in life because my mind is calm and reset, and the ego is not so dominant with all its misconceptions and illusions and stuff that it likes to identify with. So meditation helps you to see through quite a lot of that. How many times do you meditate per day? Well, just like most people, I'm rather busy, and so I aim to meditate for 40 minutes per day, but having lots of family commitments and lots of work that I have to do, and also trying to clean the house from time to time, it doesn't always get done every day, I have to say, but at least every other day it will happen. And that's okay. It's okay. If you're feeling especially up and down or whatever, then definitely try to do it every day. If you make it part of your routine and give it priority, then, because oftentimes things like exercise or meditation, they come last on the list, in self-care, but it has to be bumped up the list. But when you have kids and you have work and family and other things that you have to attend to, they take priority, don't they? And they have to. But just try and bump it up the list. Okay, and what sorts of techniques do you use? I mostly perform concentrative meditation where I'll count or perform a mantra or focus on an image in my mind and just let thoughts gently float away non-judgmentally, and I don't get cross with myself when I end up lost in thought, which happens less and less nowadays. But I tend to do that concentrative type of meditation mostly because that calms the mind and trains the mind not to be swept up in thought. But I'll also take guided meditations as well, which is different. You're focusing on something and going on a journey, but that's good for spiritual work and developing techniques such as astral projection and cleansing and clearing your chakras and performing a Reiki meditation. And that's why I make these on my YouTube channel, Guided Meditations with Nikki Sutton, because I realise how important they are, and I realise that I have an okay voice for it. So and I purchase special music for it too. I have created for me. So in that way I can offer them to others, and also each one that I make I listen to it through and perform it as well. So most days I'm actually performing a guided meditation on my own, listening to my own voice, which is a bit weird, but at least I'm doing it. So, it is weird. Okay. And to ensure meditation stays positive and beneficial for all of us, well, meditation is by its nature positive, but when we start to meditate, we can get sort of negative feeling thoughts and emotions coming up because all is quiet all of a sudden, and the subconscious mind says, hey, now I can have some attention paid to me, and look, here's a negative emotion, I want healing. Here, look, feel some horrible sadness. Here you go. And when that comes on during meditation, that in a way that's a positive because the mind is quiet and we become aware of negative emotions we have brewing beneath in the subconscious, and that gives us a heads up that something needs healing, and then we can perform inner work separately. And some worry that through meditation that negative beings or entities can somehow have access to us, but you just perform your protection beforehand. Meditation isn't always about connecting with say the higher self information or anything. It can just be for calming and quietening the mind, just to help us feel better. So it doesn't necessarily leave you open to anything. You just have the intention that you are safe and protected, and that is what you'll manifest because that is what you believe. In some religions, we're taught that even meditation and yoga are evil, but that isn't true. And so those who've had a religious background have a tendency to believe that a little bit, but it's just not true. If you practice protection and have the attitude that you're fully protected and powerful as an infinite being, then that is what you are and that is what you'll be. I have a guided meditation on protection on my meditation channel too, and that gives you methods and walks you through methods of protection. So whenever you meditate, if that helps you with your belief that all is well, then by all means practice protection and all will be well. Okay, so the next question is from Anna again. Thank you. I actually have a really quick question. If you have a mystical experience or two, does that mean you're meant to be a mystic or on some spiritual path? And if you don't go on it, will you be punished with bad things happening to you? Just wondering. It seems as though a lot of spiritual callings happen through mystical experiences, and then I feel they are threatened to go on it afterward. Well, just know that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And yes, some people have mystical experiences and that sends them on a certain path, but many people don't have mystical experiences. And if you are destined to have one, then it'll be for a reason. And as long as you feel that it's a positive experience and your intuition says, follow what it recommends. So for example, if you go into a trance while sitting around a fire during meditation and you have a vision and the vision feels positive and it shows you visions of you doing charity work or something, if that feels intuitively right, then go ahead and do it. If it feels like you're being misled in some way away from another path, then don't follow it. You don't have to do anything. If a vision comes along or a mystical experience comes along, you don't have to do what it says. It's not necessarily right. It's like a spirit guide making contact through a medium with you and telling you to do something and you don't feel like it's right. You don't have to do it because the spirit guide might not be well informed. Your higher self is well informed, but you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And being threatened, you have to remember your own power in this reality. If a being feels like it's threatening you, then you command them to go to the light, in love and light. Thank you very much, but no thank you. You don't need to be affected by any of this. This is your reality. You're incarnate here. Any other beings that feel negative that aren't incarnate here are not as powerful as you are. You can pick up a cardboard box and move it around, but 99.999% of spirits can't pick up a cardboard box in this reality and move it around. You see how much more powerful you are in this reality. You just say, no, thank you. I'm fine as I am. So not to worry. All is well. And you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And mystical experiences, you don't have to take what they say as the word. If you draw some conclusion from it, it's up to you. Okay then, so thank you very much. And the next question is from Annette. Hi Nikki, this is not a general type question, so please let me know if I need to use a different venue for your answer. The question is about images I see sometimes when I am in bed. Just closing my eyes, I see a rapid fire stream of human faces, all different, both sexes, adult only. These are faces I have never seen before. They stay up only for a split second, then the next one, and it happens on its own. I can't force it or will it. Just happens sometimes. Am I accessing the Akashic records? Maybe. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Annette. Okay, so this is quite a common occurrence, and this happens to me too. So I'll be feeling very relaxed, going to sleep. So as you say, you're going to sleep, just closing my eyes. Yep. When you close your eyes and start to relax down before you go to sleep, you go into a very relaxed state, and your brain waves, scientifically proven, change from the beta brainwave state down to the alpha and then the theta, and then it's delta. I believe you are asleep, so theta is on the verge of sleep. Yep. And in that state, your subconscious mind becomes dominant and your conscious mind sort of fizzles away and turns off, and it's the subconscious mind that's the bridge to the soul. And so you may have recalled on numerous occasions seeing interesting visions of things and funny thoughts coming in that it's weird, they're just happening to you, you're not thinking them, or it's something new. It's like where did that come from? And you're still awake on the verge of sleep and these images start happening, and you don't set the intention for them to do so. Now, when you start seeing people's faces, it can simply be, it could be a number of things, but it can be the faces of people you've known in other lifetimes. It can be your own faces from other lifetimes. It can be, as you say, you tuning into the Akashic records and seeing people's faces. It could be you tuning into the mass consciousness, which is part of the Akashic records in a way, and you seeing other people's faces who are still alive today, incarnate today, or those who have passed on. It's like you're accessing a file within the Akashic records of people who have existed, and you're just running through them. Your soul is quite active while you're sleeping. Your consciousness is away and you're doing all sorts of things. It may be true that you are looking upon others' faces. For example, if your soul is working with others who are on Earth, you might be talking to various people. Your soul might be your spirit. And whoever your soul is interacting with, you're just seeing it yourself as you fall asleep. You could be helping people pass over as they cross over to the other side. They very much still are taking human form and believe they are human. So your spirit, your soul, helping them cross over to the other side, may be interacting with these individuals, seeing their faces, and you're just seeing them too. So it's one of those things. It's an interesting thing. And yes, I experience it as well. When I have it, I intuitively feel I'm having spirit come through to me and they're showing me their faces as if to say, hello, I'm here. Please acknowledge me. And I will say to my guides, okay, can you make that stop now? Because, I'd like to just relax, not look at all these faces. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And then they'll just fizzle away. Okay, next is Yaritza. Hello, Nikki. Thank you very much for your question. Hello, Nikki. Much love and thank you for this opportunity. Much love going out to you too. Since I was young, I've been having dreams that when I wake up, my intuition tells me they mean something. When I look at the meaning of the dream, it's always related to something I'm going through at the moment. Also, I have been able to feel good, bad, evil and sad energy from people. I've heard whispers in my ears at night. I've had 2 astral travels and I have had dreams that become reality. All of this while I didn't know anything about spiritual awakening or third eye meditation. My question is, does that mean I am or can be psychic? Why have I had so many experiences like that since I was a teenager? That will be 22 years having these experiences. Thank you so much. Okay, Yaritza, I would say that possibly yes. Well, we're all psychic to some degree, but some more than others. And it's those that have these experiences, lots of interesting experiences or some experiences, that start to think, I could be especially psychic or even a medium. And that's when they follow such a path. And then it's up to your intuition, how you feel about it, as to whether you do start practicing and training to be a practicing psychic. So as you say, that since you've been young, you've been having dreams that when you wake up, your intuition tells you they mean something. If your intuition says that, then it's likely true. And a lot of psychic information can come through in dreams. And when you look at the meaning of the dream, it always has something that's related to what you're going through at the moment. So indeed, your own soul or your higher self is communicating with you. We are our higher self, so your higher self is communicating with itself, or your guides are trying to get something through to you, and it's relevant to your life, and that's a sure sign if you can relate it to the context of your life. Also, you've been able to feel good, bad, evil and sad energy from people, so that is pointing to the fact that you are empathic. And this can be validated by communicating with them and actually seeing how they feel. So verbally they might confirm that, or through their body language. And that's a sign you're empathic. You've heard whispers in your ears at night. That's clairaudience. So yes, that's something I hear as well. And the reason why you hear it at night is probably because you're more relaxed. And when you're relaxed, your subconscious mind is dominant and you're better able to connect. So having clairaudient abilities means that you might have mediumship abilities and be able to hear spirit. So it's like a voice within the mind, isn't it? That is like your own inner voice, your own inner monologue, but it will be a different voice. And you've had 2 astral travels, which means you probably have great clairvoyance then, which is also great for psychic, that's reading other people incarnate, or great mediumship abilities, that's receiving communication from spirit, so you're probably very good at clairvoyance. And you've had dreams that have become reality, so that's having foresight, predictions, premonitions, precognition. So you are therefore able to access futures, and that's good access to the Akashic records, possible futures. Futures aren't always written, the future changes with every decision we make, but you can see possible futures. That is a psychic trait. Indeed, lovely. That's useful. But, when predicting for people's futures, you always have to bear in mind that futures do change. So when you tell someone a future, it's only possible. So don't tell them it's definitely going to happen, because they'll make it happen. If it's something negative. I've experienced that in the past, done to me, and these things were made to happen that were negative because I was told they would. But yes, it's very handy. And I've had dreams of people who've passed away, and then when I woke up the next day, they did. That, your soul is communicating with you, your guides are communicating with you, even the person who's passed over is communicating with you during dream time. And not everyone has the ability to do this, so it does point to you being psychic. And that was all while you didn't know anything about spiritual awakening or third eye meditation. Yep. So you don't need to be on a spiritual path for these things to start happening. It's already switched on, you see, and then you realise all this later. So can you be psychic? Yes, very likely. And why have I had so many experiences like that since I was a teenager? Probably because you're psychic. And that will be 22 years of having these experiences. There you go, yep. So many very good mediums and psychics have had this happening all their lives. And it's just because it's all switched on from the beginning, or it can be switched on in teenage years or later in life as well. As I say, we're all psychic to some degree, but all of a sudden it can really increase and enhance. Okay, so I hope that's helped you today. And I have a question from Rezin. Thank you very much, Rezin. There is a place right between being awake and being asleep that I've experienced a few times. It's hazy and I can hear people speaking and have seen things there. I've even met a soul type of family. What is this place and how do I get back there? I remember even when I was a child. Okay. So to get back to that state, that's the state between being awake and being asleep, and often it can be quite a quick state, depending on how quick you fall asleep. But you can get there in meditation too and prevent yourself from actually falling asleep by sitting up straight. I use a kneeling meditation stool because it stops you from slumping and slouching. So in that way, it's not so much concentrative meditation where you're approaching it like you're fully ready and doing some work. In that way, the purpose is trying to almost fall asleep but not. So I made a video on the hypnagogic nap. I'll put a link in the description for you, Rezin. And was it Vincent van Gogh that used to do that? He would sit up and wait for himself to fall asleep. And he would hold a key in his hand over a metal plate, and he would wake himself up, obviously, because if he fell asleep, he'd drop the key in the metal plate and it would make a noise and he would wake up. And then at that point, he would have wonderful imagery to go and paint in his paintings. And he would take that imagery from the place in between being awake and being asleep. So if you sit up during meditation with the intention of going to sleep, which is completely against what you'd normally do in meditation, but for this purpose, you can get into the hypnagogic state, the place in between sleep, between being awake and being asleep, and that is where we can really connect. It's a trance state, you see. And in order to get the same thing again, the same thing happening, the soul type of family that you met, before you begin the process is to set the intention that that's what you want to happen, that you want to meet them again. So just say out loud your intentions. I wish to meet so-and-so, such and such again. I wish to see them again. And then start your process, sitting up straight and trying to fall asleep. You can hold a key over a metal plate as well if you have one. But usually if you just sit up straight on a meditation stool, when you start to fall asleep, you'll fall to one side and you'll wake yourself up. And at that point, that's when you snatch the remembering back. Because if you go to sleep, you forget what happened, usually. But if you wake up just then, before you fall asleep, you can remember and write it down, and that's when you are able to remember. So I hope that has been helpful for you, Rezin. And lastly, we have Sara. Thank you for your question, Sara. Hey Nikki, another question here. Is it possible for Earth to become 5D negative rather than 5D positive? And if so, what would cause this to happen? Thanks. Okay. So you may have been reading the Law of One, seeing as you've asked that question, or maybe listened to a video of mine from the past. So in the Law of One, it states that this planet is becoming fourth density. I sometimes refer to it as 5D because many people call it 5D. 5D is the properties of the fourth density. It has 5 spatial time dimensions. So that's width, depth, length, and time running in one direction is 4 dimensions. That's what we're in now. But if time runs in 2 directions, you can go back or forth in time. That's 5D, 5 spatial time dimensions in the fourth density. Sorry to get all confusing. Yes, so in the fourth density, as the Earth moves into the fourth density, which it is doing and it's nearly there, but having a bit of trouble getting there, I have to say, the Law of One states that this planet will be fourth density positive. That is what it is. There's no changing that. Because it's the planet's choice. The planet is a being, it is an entity, and just like any of us who choose to be more positive, that's service to others as well as service to self, rather than negative, which is service only to self, power, manipulation and control, we can choose that behaviour as long as we become aware of that's how we're behaving. The Earth's choice is to be fourth density positive, so there's no changing that. But the problem is that the beings on the planet are on a spectrum of different orientations. So if you're 50% or more service to others, then you are of a positive orientation and your vibration is high enough to move into fourth density positive with the Earth's choice. And that's your choice. But there's many beings on this planet who are all about selfishness, power, manipulation and control. And it's harming the Earth's transition. It's making it slower, dragging it back. And therefore there's a lot of turmoil, which you can see in the weather and things going on the planet, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, weather changes, even potentially the global warming phenomena being exacerbated by such a process having difficulty. So you said, is it possible for Earth to become 5D negative rather than 5D positive? I do not think that would be possible, because it is the Earth's choice that it is going into 5D positive, fourth density positive. The Earth, unless it changes its mind and wants to be a negatively oriented planet, that's where the majority of beings will be serviced to self, in the fourth density. Fourth density negative planets do exist, and those who do not graduate to fourth density positive will go and incarnate on some fourth density negative planet if they're ready in their next incarnation, or the one after that, once this planet has fetched fourth density positive. Those other beings will incarnate elsewhere because the vibration will be too different. There are more and more positive beings incarnating here because the vibration is rising, believe it or not, and so less and less will incarnate here because there's a vibrational mismatch for them to incarnate here. So the process will smooth out as more negatively oriented beings come to the end of their lifetime and less incarnate here, are born here again. So thank you very much, Sara, for your question. Sending you all lots of love indeed. So I've now come to the end of the questions that were put under my post requesting questions. So I'll put out another post requesting questions. And when I do that, if you have a question, please pop it under there and not under any of the videos, because I tend to find all the questions in one place and they're all in a line and I can just answer them. So as soon as I post my request for questions next time, please go ahead and pop them under there. That would be great. So take good care, sending lots of love and best wishes and blessings. Until next time, bye bye.